Who is ready for this Week 11 AFC North showdown between your Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers? The second matchup this season between these two teams. We remember how the last one went down. It was a back-and-forth game. The Bengals were able to come away with a victory, though. We'll see if that bye week that the Bengals are coming off of now will be enough to help this Bengals defense, bounce back in the second half of the season here. And we'll see if the Bengals can end up making a turnaround and a push towards this year's NFL playoffs here. I'll say the same exact thing that I said going into this first matchup between these two teams. This Pittsburgh Steelers team is very beatable. Look, the Bengals offense is really rolling right now. You see their offensive scoring metrics right there. They have gone up, 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 up every single week, but that defense has been absolutely horrid. Right now, number 32 in the NFL. But the Steelers' defense isn't great either. So I think this is kind of going to go along the same type of way where, I think both of these teams are going to score a lot of points in this game. But the Steelers, last four games actually here, they have lost 3 out of 4. The one kind of outlier there is that game against the Colts where they ended up winning that one. It's kind of weird. I would not have expected the Steelers to, go beat the Colts in that game because they're kind of, as weird as it sounds right now with Daniel Jones at quarterback, they're the best team in the NFL right now. So, kind of a wishy-washy team right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, it is going to be a very, very tough matchup. Trying to beat a team for the second time in the same season, that's always tough, and it's especially tough going to Pittsburgh because, they're going to be very, very loud there. They're going to have the terrible towels going. But, look, man, this Bengals team, with the offense, the way it's rolling right now with Joe Flacco, I still think they have a very, very good chance. We'll see if my delusion, of this Bengals team ends up kind of falling out of favor on Sunday night, but we'll see what happens there on Sunday. Now, if you guys want the Bengals to beat the Steelers for the second time this season, make sure you get down there and drop a like on today's video. We did the same exact thing the first time these two teams played. We got a lot of likes on that video, and nobody jinxed it. So don't jinx it this time. Make sure you guys get down there and drop a like on today's video if you want the Bengals to beat the Steelers again. All right, going back to that first matchup, like I said, it was very back and forth between these two teams. The Bengals were able to get a couple of turnovers in that game, and that was a couple weeks now after you ended up trading for Joe Flacco. And, like I said, since you brought Joe Flacco onto this team, this offense anyways has just gotten better and better and better. You look at the matchups between these two teams here, the Bengals really, when you look at the offensive metrics, they really did just outplay the Steelers overall there. The time of possession, they did a good job of that. And this is really one of those first games where the Bengals were actually able to rush the ball a little bit. You remember before they brought Joe Flacco in, they just were not able to run the football at all. Since they made that trade, the running game has actually gotten a little bit better here. They did a really good job. And I will say this too, the Bengals have done a really good job this year on not having as many penalties as they did last year. In this matchup here, penalties were a big factor, I think, into why, the Steelers, sometimes their drives ended up stalling out there. You got those 2 turnovers in that game. Jordan Battle got an interception at the beginning of the game, and then going into halftime, DJ Turner, that was that interception where he ripped the ball away from the receiver right there on the sideline. You ended up kicking a field goal right before you went into halftime, and that was a big turning point for that game. It really gave the Bengals a lot of momentum going into halftime there. So we'll see if the Bengals can do the same thing, creating some turnovers, controlling the time of possession in this game. And I do think running the ball is going to be a big, big factor if the Bengals are going to win this game. So I know the vibes have really been down so far this season for, the Bengals fan base out here. I want you guys to spread the positive vibes. Get down there inside the comment section and spam your Who Days for me down at the pinned comment of today's video. All right, let's look at really some notable injuries, here first for both teams. Starting off with the Bengals here, Joe Flacco did not practice on Wednesday. Zac Taylor said he wasn't going to throw on Wednesday, same procedure as they went through a couple of weeks ago, and he is expected to throw on Thursday's practice there. Trey Hendrickson didn't practice again, with that hip injury still. We'll see what happens there, but he is still listed as doubtful. Zac Taylor didn't really want to go into much detail there on Trey Hendrickson, so you're going to be down to Joseph Ossai and Myles Murphy yet again. Samaje Perine, remember a couple of weeks ago, had that hip drop tackle on him on a kickoff return there, so he did not practice again today with an ankle injury. And Shemar Stewart, still day-to-day, week-to-week, whatever you want to call it there, didn't practice for him. So just another game now. He's missed a lot of games for a first-round pick, missing a lot of games so far this year. It's just been not the best start to the season here for Shemar Stewart. Over to the Steelers side of things here. This, by the way, again, the Wednesday injury report or practice report, whatever you want to call it, that the Steelers put out. They actually had like 12 guys on there, but I just went with the most notable names here for this. Darius Slay, he did not practice with a concussion. That's a big-time injury. If the Steelers can't have him in this game, it might be a long night for that Steelers defense there, because we know how concussions can be. They can be really, really weird. He's in concussion protocol right now in the NFL right now, especially with the Giants situation, and they are really cracking down on the concussion protocol as well. Got a couple offensive linemen that have been either limited or did not practice for them on Wednesday. And then, by the way, they also did sign Asante Samuel Jr. Now, he just signed. He wasn't actually listed on the Steelers injury report, but, I talked to our guy Jack Sperry, our Steelers channel here at Chat Sports, and he said to go ahead and throw him on that list because he's not quite sure if he'll actually be ready to go as they continue to ramp him up. All right, we have a major deal alert here for you guys. We got Jesse Palmer. This is actually his line of jackets here. I don't know if he does the entire NFL or just Bengal stuff or whatever it is here, but solid jacket right now from that Jesse Palmer line. Just go to chatsports.com/Bengals Palmer. It is 50% off right now. I know it's really starting to get cold. We had the first snow of the year a couple of days ago, so it's starting to get chilly right now. If you guys need a new Bengals jacket, by the way, you unzip it, pull the right side, left side, whatever you want out. It's actually lined with a bunch of orange and black Bengals logos in there. So the inside is actually lined with the logos as well. So pretty cool on that front there. But right now, it is 50% off. So make sure you go to chatsports.com/Bengals Palmer. I'll put that link down in the comment section in the description of today's video. All right, just a couple of, what to watch for or keys to victory, if you will. I kind of been going away from keys to victory because they really haven't been working for us. So we switched the verbiage up and just going with what to watch for this game this weekend. Can the Bengals actually sack Aaron Rodgers in this game? Look, pressures are all well and good, quarterback hurries, whatever you want to call it, getting the quarterback, out of the pocket, just off his spot there. That's all well and good. But if you can't get Aaron Rodgers to the ground, you're cooked because he runs around still like he's, 25 years old back with the, Green Bay Packers. And you saw it in the first matchup as well. There were multiple times. I remember one specifically that sticks out in my head where, Shemar Stewart, got some pressure on him. Aaron Rodgers was rolling out to the right side, and he just sidestepped him, and Shemar Stewart looked like a baby giraffe out there, just totally took his ankles, ended up throwing for a touchdown there. So you got to be able to get Aaron Rodgers to the ground. And really, Myles Murphy and Joseph Ossai are going to be the two main guys, I would assume, for the Bengals at that edge rush spot. And they just haven't really been, that good at all when they've been in there so far this year for the Bengals. So, like I said, pressures are all well and good, but if you can't turn those pressures into sacks, they mean absolutely nothing. All right, what to watch for number 2. Can the offense just continue to cook? We'll talk about the defense here in just a little bit, but the offense really has to get going in this game, and they've been great since Joe Flacco was, brought to this Bengals team. A little first 5 versus last 4 games here, kind of side by side for the Bengals when you had, Jake Browning at quarterback, basically, versus when you had Joe Flacco at quarterback. Every single metric here has gone up. Points per game, yards per game. The rushing game has been literally doubled what you were doing before that. When you have a quarterback that can push the ball downfield, when he can get the ball out of his hands, when he is not turning the football over, that helps every single aspect of this Cincinnati Bengals team. Chase Brown, the last couple of games, I mean, he has gone off. You remember back during that first Steelers matchup as well, Chase Brown actually, I believe that was the first time this season where, he had multiple runs that were the long of, the season so far for him. And he's gotten even better, since that game too. So I'm very, very excited to see if this Bengals offense can continue to run the football, and they also need to continue to feed Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. Same thing. Back to that first game versus the Steelers, Ja'Marr Chase had that, career high in targets for him. I would expect the same exact thing in this game. You got to be able to feed your playmakers. Get the ball out quick to Ja'Marr Chase or T. Higgins and let those guys cook, because they are, Ja'Marr Chase might be the best, wide receiver in the National Football League. T. Higgins could be a number one wide receiver on a lot of different football teams out there as well. So get the ball to your playmakers, get it out fast so you don't allow those, whether it's T.J. Watt or Cam Hayward or, that Pittsburgh Steelers pass rush to be able to get to Joe Flacco, because, that offensive line has been kind of hit or miss at points this season. All right, I need you guys. Prediction time here. Get down inside the comment section and predict the score to Bengals versus Steelers. As of right now, filming this on Wednesday evening, it is a 5.5-point spread for this, Steelers team, going into this game. So let me know. Get your score predictions down inside the comment section for Bengals versus Steelers here this weekend. All right, what to watch for number 3. This is the last one we're going to do today, swarm tackle. This is something that Jordan Battle talked about to the media just the other day, and this Bengals team has been absolutely atrocious when it comes to getting the ball carrier on the ground. Jordan Battle, he went to make that hit on Colston Loveland a couple weeks ago versus the Bears, when they ended up winning the game. And, just go for the tackle. You don't have to go for the big hit every single time. Just wrap up, get the guy on the ground. And, like Jordan Battle said, it needs to be a team type of, getting to the football here. Just overall kind of talking about this Bengals defense. He said, we got to be physical in all aspects of the game, defensively and offensively, just winning up front, and then in the back end or the linebackers need to take on blocks aggressively. I really, really love that part there, because you see sometimes with these Bengals linebackers, they kind of wait for that block to get to them, and that's just an extra 5 yards for the running back, to hit the hole. Then those guys are being blocked. Then they bust it for a big play there. Continuing on, though, he said, staying in the right gap and filling where we are needed. The biggest thing is getting more guys to the football, being able to not make one-on-one and solo tackles, make it a group tackle, and get the ball out and cause turnovers. Now, that part, I'll be honest, that last part there, a little bit, it doesn't help, honestly, when, you go to wrap the guy up and it's just one guy there and, you're trying to strip the ball out and he just ends up breaking a tackle. And that's, missed tackles so far this year have just been absolutely atrocious for this Cincinnati Bengals team. The defense knows it. We all know it. You've seen the numbers out there in the media. The Bengals right now, it's actually kind of crazy. The Steelers as well been really, really bad in terms of missed tackles so far this season, but the Bengals by far and none have been the worst tackling team in the NFL. Almost 30 more missed tackles than the number 2 team in the National Football League, the Pittsburgh Steelers there. So wrap the guy up. You don't necessarily just be trying to rip the football out. I know in times you can do that, but you got to have more guys around. It can't just be, one-on-one, wrapping the guy up, trying to rip the ball out, because a lot of times that's when you end up missing tackles there. Same thing hitting the hole hard. Go up. If you're one of those linebackers, go up, meet that offensive lineman right in the hole, have the, running back have to bounce it outside or something like that, and let somebody else make the tackle at the end of the day. This Bengals defense has to be able to, get the ball carrier on the ground. Because you think back to that last game as well, the Steelers had Jalen Warren, rush for 127 yards against them. So you got to be able to stop those ball carriers, and hopefully you can do a better job on defense in the run game as well. All right, before we get out of here, make sure you guys hit that sub button. Right here, the AFC North sub count for all of our channels here at Chat Sports. We're, a smaller channel. We're a newer channel here. Just, basically a year and a half right now is what we've been doing, main every single day, dropping videos for you guys. So join the community here at Bengals Breakdown. We are live for every single Bengals game. We have, raffles for you guys as well. Just trying to build a community right here at Bengals Breakdown of a lot of Bengals fans, and we have a lot of fun on Sundays as well. So make sure you join the community. Do not miss out on any Bengals news out there. Hit that sub button and stay up to date on all things Cincinnati Bengals.